Yes, Salakia. A child is openly ready and available to receive correction. You know, and a lot, and another thing, man. Just because a man been in the truth for 20 years, been around for 20 years, doesn't mean that he's an adult. According to responsibility, man. You know, because you may have been raised around people that you know that don't really know shit, that may have wanted to keep you in a stupor so they can always be lords over you. You know, that seek to keep you unlearned. So they are the authority. You know, but that's another story. That's another topic. But I just want to focus on the importance of keeping that, holding to that childlike mind state, as opposed to being available to be corrected and taught. You know, the scriptures speak about, if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth his own self. You know, you know. So we got to consider, man. Hey, we all just, man, in this battle. We all fighting for righteousness' sake. So you're not gonna always be right. You're not gonna always be, 100% right, because if you were, you wouldn't need salvation. You wouldn't need to pray to the Lord. You wouldn't need to seek after righteousness. You know. So we got to realize that we need correction. We need to be taught. Because this world that we're living in, this present world, and this country that we're living in, speaking specifically to us over here in Babylon, it has taught us to be overgrown children. And I hate using that word grown, because a lot of people in the world say that. See, a lot of people in the world, if you ever hear a nigga say, I'm a grown ass man, that means that pretty much means you're unteachable. You're not teachable. That pretty much means that you got it down pat. You always correct. Having a house and an apartment or whatever you got, that don't make you grown. That don't make you responsible. Because a lot of men have houses and cars, and they bought it with drug money that's destroying other people's lives. Does that make them responsible? Hell no. Because if you're responsible, you wouldn't put yourself at risk. If he gets caught, this man, all these things that he's accrued over his tenure of selling drugs, if he gets caught, all that's gone. That's taken away. So that don't make you responsible. A lot of people are walking around, just because you're over 4 foot tall, you're a responsible adult. And a lot of these people are fucking kids. They're children. And then if you call them out and tell them, look, man, you're a child, man, then they want to wrestle in the spirit. Don't ever call me, I'm a grown ass man. Or I'm grown. I'm a grown ass woman. This and that. But really, they're children. And it's not a totally bad thing to have a childlike mindset if you're willing to accept correction. A child knows that they need correction. When you speak to a child and you correct them, in majority of cases, they listen to you. If you speak with a certain level of seriousness, they'll say, "Oh shit, this dude ain't playing, or this person ain't playing with me. I better straighten up." But the thing is, what we have now is a bunch of grown, and then grown to grow means grow means to basically to change in size or to become bigger. It doesn't mean to become responsible. So when you say I'm a grown ass whatever, that don't mean you're responsible. That just means you a tall nigga that know how to talk, that know how to say I'm grown. In a lot of cases, you're just a tall nigga talking shit, you know? But being an adult is being able to accept when you're wrong and to grow from cases, from certain instances, you know. And then another thing, you have to have enough maturity to be able to help your friend, your neighbor, and say, look, man, I did that. That's going on. That's going to cause you problems in the future. You know, being an adult, which is different from being a grown, you know, but being an adult is coupled with responsibility, you know, and that responsibility is taught to you by either circumstances or other people that have lived through those responsibilities. In this case, you're learning something. So that's going to come through other people that have lived through those instances in most cases, you know. But, you know, a lot of people, you know, they think, oh, yeah, I pay bills and I got a car and this and that. And that makes me an adult. And really, that just make you unteachable, uncorrectable. That makes you a rockhead nigga that don't want to know, don't want to learn to do better, because you can escape correction by saying I'm grown, you know. But you know, there was a saying back in the day, yeah, there's young fools and old fools too, you know. And the saddest thing that you can do to yourself is allow yourself to grow without maturing to the point of handling your responsibilities, you know. But, you know, according to the faith, you know, that's a whole different level. You know, you have to be teachable. You have to come in a childlike mind state to be able to receive a lot of things that's being said. And, you know, because children are readily available to be taught, you know. But if you think you got it, and in most cases you don't, what are you gonna do? You're gonna buck up. You're gonna toughen up your neck, you know. And even if you're dead wrong, in most cases you're gonna still argue. Because why? Because you have the ability to argue, because you got a mouth and you feel like you got say so. But there's sin, there's right and there's wrong. And when the day comes, the day which is coming soon, for you to have to pay for your sins, you know, there won't be correction. There'll just be judgment. When the Lord comes back, it's not going to be, oh, Lord, forgive me, I didn't see it. No, the Lord is going to be like, no, either you lived according to what I said, or you just a dead nigga. Or you know, because the Lord is coming back to do away with evil. The Lord is coming back to do away with unrighteousness, wickedness, you know. So if you're not teachable, if you're not correctable, if somebody can't say, that's why I always say when I open my lessons to those that change according to the word. If somebody can't say, hey, this is what the Bible says, you're not supposed to do that. That's not right. That's the highest form of love. But because a nigga think, oh, I'm grown, you know, because you make, you make $300, you know, a week at your job, you know, you got a little apartment or something, you know, and then the nigga think, oh, I'm, you know, you can't nobody tell you nothing, you know. But if you want to be right with the Lord, you ought to be teachable. You ought to be, if it's coming from the Bible, if because a lot of people, this is what happened. A lot of people, I love the Lord. The Lord is, you know, my everything. But when somebody corrects you in the scriptures, when somebody say no, but the scriptures say you're not supposed to do this, then they become a whole nigga. Hey, well, that's what you saying. I ain't got to do that. I'm grown. But if you love the Lord said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. You know? So that's the first level of loving the Lord, is keeping his commandments, you know? But I'm gonna get into the scriptures, man. This is Matthew's chapter 18 and verse 4. It says, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child. Wait, hold on, I'm gonna read up a little bit. Matthew's 18 and verse 3 says, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Matthew's 18 and 1, it says, at the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children. And another thing, becoming as little children is wiping away all of that filth that you learned in the world. Oh, this is how you get over on niggas. You know, this is how I come up in a wicked manner. You know, if I use a false sense of love to trick this fool and to believe that I'm a true friend, I can get stuff out of him. You know, the Lord is coming back to kill people that do stuff like that, man. Because we're not supposed to have that mindset. We're supposed to all have the mindset of building one another up as a nation of people, and that was robbed from us during slavery. In slavery, we were taught to hate one another. We were taught that, and to this day, niggas do it subconsciously, show hatred towards each other, and don't even have the mind to catch it and say, you know what? Why did I look at this dude mad when all he said was "what's up" to me? You know, why am I mad at people for looking out their car window at me while I'm in traffic? You know, because you got niggas that do that. You know, don't be looking in my fucking car. It's wicked as hell. And, you know, they don't do that to no other nation of people but their own. You know, it's got to be somebody that look like you. Some brown skin, you know, person of your own nation that you hate the most. You know? It says, whosoever shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And who shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. You know? It says, but whosoever shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and that we were drowned in the depth of the sea. So, hey, if you offend one of these little ones that change their lives according to the word of the Lord, and that are trying to live right, and that are doing the things that's required of them by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, if you offend one of those people, then the Lord is going to raise up on you. You know, if you offend one of those people that believe and trust in the Lord and that change their lives according to the word, if you offend them, then the Lord is going to raise up on you. And we all know, you from the hood, you know what that term "raise up" mean. You know that's not good. That means somebody gonna die. Nigga, I'll raise up on you. In the hood, that means somebody about to get taken out of here. You know, that's a good way to receive some judgment. You know. You know, but hey, it says whoso therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greater in the kingdom of heaven. Because children, first of all, children are naturally humble. You know, if they got a decent, somewhat decent upbringing, and sometimes even not. Sometimes they just need a strong voice to hey, look at me. That's hey, don't do that. You know, and then they'd be like, oh, you know, they never had that. So the event, you know, they'll a lot of times they'll listen, and in a lot of cases, you know, that strong voice may be some type of, you know, person that, you know, principal at school, and the home is all disrupted, but the child goes to school and gets one of those teachers that's like, hey, Hey, y'all cut that out. Don't do that, man. I'm gonna put some fire on you next time you do it. And they ain't never been corrected in the house. They gonna take that like, whoa, like that felt like it was serious. So you have to be able to receive some type of correction. You have to, that's what the scriptures say, humble yourself as this little child, because you have to be able to receive correction. It don't matter how correction come at you. Correction can come at you in the hey nigga, what's up with you, man? Are you crazy? You know? Or it could come, hey brother, hey, we not supposed to be doing that. That's not cool. Hey, the scriptures say this and that. Correction can come either way, you know? But either way correction comes, you're supposed to be able to take it either way. And think about it and digest it and say, you know what? Yeah, I know I didn't like the way that was said to me, but it was right. So I can't really knock this person for telling me what was right. Because people get offended at what's right all the time. You know, they know and that's a big problem amongst our people. You know, you dead fucking wrong, right? You dead fucking wrong. You ain't right. But because you grown, nigga, because I'm an adult, I'm grown, I pay my own phone bill and all that stupid ass shit. You can't receive correction. Can't nobody tell you nothing. And then when the Lord come and start smiting you, when you break your leg, your car go down, when your job is gone, when you start going through hardship, then you be like, man, what's going on? No, nigga, you grown, right? You can't receive correction. You grown. Now be grown. Because judgment comes behind that. It being irreprovable and uncorrectable, judgment comes with that. And you don't see it as judgment. You see it as, oh, this is just a bad day. But the scriptures say the man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man understand his own way? If you walking into judgment, it's for a reason. Every time it's for a reason. So we have to realize that, we need to humble ourselves as little children. When we dealing with this word, when we dealing with that which is heavenly and righteous, we should humble ourselves as little children, because to the Lord belongeth the issues from death. The Lord can kill you, man. The Lord can take you out, man. A lot of people leave certain places and they go out and they don't know they're gonna die. And then boom, like those people at that grocery store in Buffalo, New York, they were just going to buy, the grandma, her grandson's birthday coming up, she going to buy hot dogs and shit, and she go in there and get her hair blown off. Unsuspectingly. People die. People don't go out and say, yeah, I'm going to die today. People expect to, people think about tomorrow and be gone that same day. So we got to realize what kind of power we dealing with. The Lord will get mad at you and take your life. Like, okay, nigga, you ain't gonna be able to do nobody else wrong because you coming up here now. You can only commit so much sin in this body before the Lord take you out of this body. There is a limit with everything. We have our own personal limits. And we say, hey, this is where I'm not gonna go with this. You don't think the Lord has a limit? The Lord has a personal limit to where you say, nigga, you keep sinning again. Okay, one more sin and you out of there. And we don't consider it. We just going about our life. Hey, pass the blunt. But, it's important. It's very important to be correctable in the way of righteousness. If somebody can say this is wrong and show you in the Bible, if it's wrong, if you say I love the Lord, then you're supposed to say, you know what, I'm not going to do that no more. Immediately. You're supposed to cut that off. It shouldn't be no fight, because you're not fighting against the man that read out of the book of the Lord to you. You're fighting against the words that were read to you. That means you're fighting against the Lord himself. And that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem. See, because now by you being disobedient, the scriptures say obedience is better than sacrifice. You can be disobedient and say, look, I know I was fucked up earlier, but I'm going to do something nice for somebody today. I'm going to do a nice deed. And the Lord can still mess you up because the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. The Lord not going to take every sacrifice. You know, sometimes I'm gonna do a nice deed because I know I'm fucked up, and the Lord will still kill you. The Lord will still take away your benefits, put you in lower state because you're irreprovable, you're unteachable. You hate because you despise His word. You know. So I'm gonna read this other scripture, and I'm gonna first of all I'm gonna look up the word humble. This is G 50:13. It says to depress, to humiliate in the condition or heart, abasing, bringing low. It means you're supposed to bring yourself low. You know, when you get on a child, when you yell at a child, what do? They start crying. Or if you talk to a child sternly, or if you hey, you sit them down and say, look, I don't know what's wrong with you, but that's not right. And I'm mad at you. Sometimes you can just tell the child, hey, I'm upset with you right now. And they'll start crying. But we're all God's children, and can't nobody tell nobody nothing. You know, I'm grown. Then when you go flying through a car window and you fucked up in the hospital, your back broken, you can't scratch your ass. Then you like, oh, why is the Lord doing this to me? When you go to Washington Park and a stray bullet, you know what I'm saying, hit you in your spinal column, and the only thing you can move is your face. Then why is this bad stuff happening to me? Then you go on to rebuke God and say the God ain't right. But the Lord been telling you over time, look, this is what you're supposed to be doing. If you don't do this, here's what's going. Hey, the wages of sin is death. If you keep doing this, that's against me. I'm gonna kill your ass. Eventually, death is gonna catch up to you. And a lot of people go carefree on into death, into the path of death, man. You know. It says, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child. I'm going to look up the word child. It means a childling, either of either sex, that is an infant. When you don't have when you're not in this word, you're an infant, man. When you're being taught this and this is new to you, you're an infant in the word. So that means that you have, as an infant, what can you do for yourself? Can you wipe your butt? All you can do is cry. Now, if you got good parents or good spiritual teachers, then what are they gonna do? They're gonna come in when you hurt and you crying. They're gonna come in and they're gonna show you, or they're gonna help you, and they're gonna say, they're gonna tell you, look, hey, this is the right way. This is how we're supposed to be. The reason why you going through this is because of blase or this and that. You know, it says a childling, either sex, that is an infant or half-grown boy or girl. Ain't no half-grown boy or girl got an apartment nowhere taking care of themselves. You know, hey, us as men in the faith, what we're reborn into life. The scriptures say, put off the form as the old man. The Lord just said, if you become like this little child. That means if you're able to reset all the bullshit you've been taught and come into a clean path, wholeheartedly come into the way of righteousness, then you're reborn. At that point, all that the stuff that you taught behind you, yeah, you're still familiar with it because that was your life. And you may find somebody else that is familiar with that and be able to help them. Yeah, I used to do that, blase, blase, but the Lord changed my life. Then you can be, so you go through certain experiences to be able to help others, but you can't do nothing if you ain't able to be corrected. You can't help nobody. You can't help yourself. Okay, this is First Peter chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, and witness of the sufferings of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed." It says, "Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint." So you're supposed to feed. You're supposed to feed the flock. How do you feed? You break down the scriptures. You tell them what's wrong in the eyes of the Lord and what's right, and so they can fix it. That's you tending to the flock, man. The flock of God, that is. It says taking the oversight thereof. You know, so that means that you're leading. You know, you're leading over these people, man. Because why? Because first of all, you've grown to a stage where you can be a teacher and a leader. You know. Now, if they're not willing to accept you, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to shake off the dust of your feet and say, you know what, I ain't gonna deal with you. I ain't gonna deal with you on that level then, at all. And then it'll be up to the Lord for them to get it, man. But though, for those that have an ear, let them hear, man. It says not by constraint. That means that you're not supposed to hold back the word from nobody. Everybody is supposed to come up on a level. You're not supposed to say, hey, these are the teachers. These are all the teachers, and all of you, all the rest of you. These are the 10 teachers of of our sect, but all the rest of you are just peon followers. Everybody's supposed to. Hey, the scriptures say we supposed to desire the gift of prophecy, man. So you don't want to hold back by constraint. You don't want to hold nobody back by constraint. And we see that a lot of that. That's what's happening in these other camps. You got people that's the top teachers, but then you got people that's in the audience of these teachers, and they not growing in the spirit. They not able to produce their own work. They don't even have a bank account to put spiritual money in. So they just riding your coattail. And a lot of these men are cool with that because they feel, oh, these people, they need me. No, they don't need you. They need you. How about Shemi Shai? What if you die? If spoiling the child, right? If you got a child and that child grows beyond the age of 5, at the age of 5, you're supposed to start getting on that child, hey, whooping their ass. Hey, look, man, shut up. I'm talking. You're supposed to start get a little harder on them, man. Or you're supposed to start telling them more about life. Because at the age of 5, that's when comprehension start, building up, man. So you're supposed to really start, teaching them about life. If you don't do that, if you don't start teaching them how to grow up and how to deal with life, and everything you do is just spoil them, give them everything they want. If you die, they don't know nothing about life. That child might spend from 5 to 10 years old, or 5 to 15 years old, or 18 years old, and you ain't taught them nothing about how to survive in this life. That means that you failed that child as a parent. And that means that child is out there. If you die, that child don't have a way don't have a blueprint to go forward because you held back by constraint the lessons that needed to be learned. Yeah, I had a hard life. I don't want your life to be like mine, so I'm not going to teach you what I went through. That's the best. Hey, man, having a hard life is the best life. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got a harder life, you got more resolve. You got more fight in you. So the Lord deals with a lot of people that have had it hard, man. And if you've been at the lowest level of life, that makes you a better leader. Because how can a child that's had everything handed to them go out and identify with a child that ain't never had shit? That's the new form of parenting. I'm just gonna give this child every goddamn thing, and I'm not gonna tell them nothing. And these children, they grow up cussing their parents out, yelling at their parents because they mad. They know that They don't really know shit. They wasn't taught shit about life. And they holding you accountable. They mad. And that's why it's gonna be howling in the temples, man. That's why a lot of these people gonna raise up and be like, this nigga wasn't teaching us right, man. And they're gonna come up against you. It says, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. You know, you're not supposed to be teaching these people and just for the benefits that come into you. You know, you doing everything for the benefits. You know. But if you're getting those benefits, you should be held accountable to grow those newborn children into adulthood. That's being the overseer. It says, neither as being lords over God's heritage. The Lord is in heaven. You know, basically, you're instructing them in the ways of the Lord. But when you start ruling over them as their Lord, when they start when they have to, when they're not growing on a level, and then every time a big situation arrives, they got to come to you to get resolved. You know, what if you die? Then who they gonna go to? They haven't been taught to go to the Lord. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna fall by the wayside. That's why the Bible said the blind lead the blind. They all fall into a ditch. Hey, we're supposed to teach each other to grow up and become responsible adults, not no grown nigga talking shit. Responsible adults in the faith, and that's different from being an earthly adult. You know, you got people out here that's making decent money and driving decent cars and doing good for themselves, but they're still fucking children. Why? Because you don't have the spirit of truth. You don't have if you don't have the Lord, you ain't nothing. Also, all that stuff you accumulated you're gonna die with it. A man that has a few things in this life is serving the Lord is better than the man that has many things in this life and that's turned his back on the Lord. Which friend is a better friend? The rich friend that gives you $100, or the poor friend that gives you his last $20? Which friend is the better friend? It says neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. So that means that you got to live a life that's showing that you are responsible and that you are serving the Lord in truth. People should see you outside of the faith, and there's still a separation from you in this world. You know, and people should notice a difference in you. It's something different about us, man. We went out we went out to a place with the brothers we never went to before, a bar. You know, after camp, we had brothers in town. We took them out, you know, and you know, people in the bar that was in the bar was looking at us, observing us, and everybody started buying us drinks because they knew it was something different about us. They was like, man, these guys, man, everybody wanted to come and talk to us. You know, because they knew it was something different about. Hey, one woman came up and says, you guys look like Abraham and Moses," and started naming Bible names. You know, because they knew that it was something different about us. You know, so we're supposed to be examples. We're not supposed to be, you know, examples just because I'm on this lesson. This is as much example as I can give you. But, you know, when I leave this lesson, I'm just a full-blown nigga in the world. You know, that's where responsibility comes in. You know, but in order to get to that level of responsibility, you have to be teachable, because you're not going to learn nothing by not learning nothing. You're not going to learn nothing by not being taught. So you grow into a responsible man in the faith or woman in the faith after you've been taught the right way, you know? But in order to be taught, you still gotta have that level of childlike humility. Because the scriptures say, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord, man. So the greater you grow in this truth, the more you're supposed to, this fear of the Lord is supposed to hit you, and the more you're supposed to be humble, you know? Because once you really realize and start supping with the Lord, and you start learning about how he is, then it'll put fear in you. Like you'll be like, man, you know what? Hey, I'm not gonna go do that because the Lord gonna be pissed off if I do that, man. The Lord will take me out for that. Sometimes you're gonna go off anyway, you know. It's a dynamic, but everything is meant to keep you humble. Even if you do go off, what are you going to do after that? Are you going to just keep going off, or are you going to say, you know what, I fucked up, Lord Salakia, forgive me, and then you're supposed to pick yourself up and you're supposed to get back in the fight. If you go off and you tell a brother, if he rebuke you, whether it be hard or whether it be gentle, you're supposed to be able to receive it both ways. If the spirit rebuked you hard, well, you're supposed to be able to receive it and receive the correction and go forth from there. And being able to receive correction, you got to have somewhat like a childlike spirit inside of you, man. You got to have that level of humility. The Lord didn't say be a child and be irresponsible. That wasn't the message. The message was be teachable, be correctable, and be humble. We have to understand that all of our protection comes from the Lord. And in order to stay in his good graces, there's a blueprint that we have to follow. And to receive that blueprint, we have to be humble. So that's pretty much it. With that, I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakadash, the honest apostles, a great millstone, and honest you brothers out there pushing the word. Shalom.